Okay, for our subject, which is the FS4 or the question document examination, and as part of the introduction for the subject, we're going to discuss first the definition of the document, the question document, and I will also discuss how a document becomes a question document, and we're going to discuss also the question document examination itself and those phases or stages of scientific procedure or the scientific question document examination. So lahat ng yon is madidiscuss natin sa ating first part ng lesson. So let's start. What is a document? So it says that a document is any materials which contains marks, diba? Which contains marks, signs, or symbols which are visible, partially visible or invisible, that may presently or ultimately convey a meaning or message to someone. So isa-isahin natin. A document daw is any materials. So, meaning to say, ang document po is hindi lang siya limited dun sa mga papers, di ba? Hindi lang siya limited dun sa mga printed materials na kung saan merong nakasulat or merong naka-print na messages or ng mga letters or numbers or any symbols na meron doon. Hindi siya limited lang dun sa mga bagay na yon, kundi nakalagay dito, a document is any material. So, mamaya yan. Which contains marks, signs, or symbols. So, hindi tayo matatapos lang sa any materials. Kasi pwedeng sabihin mo, may papel dyan. So what? Ano yung nilalaman nun? Dapat, para ma-consider siya as a document, dapat siya ay naglalaman ng marks, signs, or symbol which are visible, partially visible or invisible, that may presently or ultimately convey a meaning or message to someone. So, ibig sabihin, a document is any materials na naglalaman ng kahit na anong marks, signs, or symbol which are visible. Kasi di ba alam naman natin yan na practically yung nakikita natin ng mga printed materials, yung mga handwriting sa papel, nakasulat sa board, nakasulat sa woods, yun ay mga visible na document na nababasa natin gamit ang ating naked eye. Pero meron tayong tinatawag kasi dito na document which are partially visible or invisible at all. Ano yung tinutukoy natin doon? Yung mga secret writings, di ba? Yung mga invisible writings na kung saan kailangan mo pang gamitan ng mga special techniques or mga chemicals para lang mapalabas or para lang ma-decipher or kaya naman para lang mabasa natin or makita kung ano yung nilalaman ng document na yon. Lastly, those materials naglalaman ng yon, yan man ay visible or partially visible or totally invisible, dapat daw may presently or ultimately convey a meaning or message to someone. It's up to the writer and the reader kung instantly it conveys a meaning or in the future ito ay magbibigay ng isang meaning para sa kanya. So in short, a document is any material na kung saan may nakapaloob doon na any symbol, mark, signs na possible mabasa mo right away o kaya naman kailangan mong applyan ng mga techniques or special techniques or chemicals para lang maging visible siya sa iyo para mabasa mo or pasok din dito yung mga codes na kung saan mga mga scramble, na words na kailangan mo pang ma-decipher or kailangan mo pang ma-decode para maintindihan mo. As long as yung document na yon, yung mga signs and symbols na yon, may presently or ultimately convey a meaning or message to someone. So, hindi lang siya again natatapos sa isang papel lang. So, a document is in a form of a pencil, di ba? Ink writing, yung mga na-print natin. Typewriting, a product of typewriting, or any printing paper. So, a document is also a formal piece of writing, di ba? Na naglalaman ng information in general or containing information. And then, ang pinaka-usual natin ngayon, since online tayo karaniwan, is ay computer file. Yung mga napiprint out natin na mga document, pasok yan sa definition ng document. So, next. So, based sa definition, ang sabi daw any material. So, kung gagamitin natin to as an example, meron tayong, for example, consider this as a wall or kaya naman kahit man lang blackboard. Wherein, at first, wala kang makikita agad-agad. But, may mapapansin ka na dot, and then may mapapansin ka dito pa na dots, and then mga lines. Sabi dyan, sagutin muna natin yung simula. A document daw is any material. So, pasok ba tayo dito? Considering that this is, for example, a wall. So, sabi nga natin kanina, a document, hindi lang siya limited dun sa paper. So, ibig sabihin, pasok tayo dun sa unang nabanggit sa definition ng document na pwede nating makonsider as document yung mga walls, di ba? Kahit man yan ay woods, di ba? Barks of the trees, paper, tissues, and iba pang bagay, as long as meron kang kakayahan na masulatan to. Di ba? Yung mga solid na materials na kung saan capable of writing. Kasi sa liquid, di ba, hindi mo naman kaya magsulat. Pero ang pinaka literal or pinaka-common na pwede nating masulatan ng mga materials na tinutukoy natin na any materials are those solid materials or substances. So, balik tayo. So, pasok tayo dito. Pwede siya maging document. The next thing is, meron bang signs or symbols? So, there is a dot, a lines, and dots. So, pasok tayo. Merong signs or symbol, hindi lang natin alam kung ano bang ibig sabihin yan. Tama? That may partially visible, completely invisible, or a visible one. So, on this part, visible kasi nakikita natin. But on the last part of the definition, diba, that may presently or ultimately convey a meaning or message to someone. So long as etong mga nakita mong to conveys a meaning to someone, that there is a mutual understanding between the writer and dun sa nakakabasa, kahit yung ibang tao hindi nila to maintindihan, again, as long as na meron tong meaning na kino-convey to someone, this can be considered as a document. Pero kung yan ay mere scratch lang, nagkaroon lang konting dot, pero wala namang purpose at all, di ba? Wala namang meaning na kino-convey to someone at wala namang may alam kung ano ba yan, ay hindi siya mako-considered as a document. So, a document all in all is any material na may sign or symbol that is capable of seeing na nakikita natin na visible or it's either invisible or partially visible, basta it conveys a meaning to someone. Kahit yan na may mapadat, di ba alam nyo naman yung mga codes? Simple that, pwede yung maging merong kahulugan or ibig sabihin sa ibang tao. Depende na sa kanila. Sabi ko nga, if there is a mutual understanding kung ano yung pinararating ng message na to or nung pinararating na mensahe sa mga symbols na to. So, maybe that means I love you, that means kill, di ba? Or kaya line means impostor or what. So, again, nakadepende yan dun sa writer and then dun sa reader if it literally conveys a meaning to someone. So, that is a document. Okay. Next is, sabi dito, a document becomes a question document when it is being questioned as to its originality, authenticity, the authorship, the source, and genuineness, and when it is placed under scrutiny to determine whether or not it is disputed. So, ang ibig sabihin lang yan, we are trying to answer the question, yung kanina sa introduction, di ba? How a document becomes a question document. Paano natin nasabi na ang isang document is nagiging question document? So, of course, common sense, ang document becomes a question document when it is being questioned. If there is a question na na-raise with regards to the document itself. Ano yung kina-question natin doon sa document na yon? Its originality, of course. the authenticity or how authentic the document is, the authorship, inaalam natin or kina-question natin kung sino ba yung nagsulat ng bagay na yon, or sino ba yung naggawa ng bagay na yon, or kanino bang signature yung bagay na yon. And the source, di ba? Sa reproduction or dun sa production of the document itself, ano ba yung materials used, di ba? In terms of the production nung document na kine-question natin. And the genuineness, and when it is placed under scrutiny to determine whether or not it is disputed. So, automatically, a document becomes a question document kapag na-question yung mga bagay na yan. Its origin, how authentic the document is, sino ba yung author, ano ba yung source, o yung ano ba yung means of producing the document, yung mga binanggit ko kanina, yung ink, diba? Kind of pencil, ink writing, ano ba yung typewriter na ginamit, ano ba yung printing paper na ginamit, and so on. And when it is placed under scrutiny or under investigation or under examination. So, ibig sabihin, automatically, once a document is placed under scrutiny or in-examine mo yan, ibig sabihin, meron kang gustong malaman, di ba? May gusto kang alamin dun sa document na yon kasi it arouse suspicious. Para sa'yo, yun ay suspicious kaya mo question. It displeases someone, di ba? Kaya naman nag-come up ka dun sa process of examining it, di ba? Of investigating it. Kaya naman it is placed now under scrutiny. So automatic again, once the document is placed under scrutiny, automatic yan is that document is considered now as a question document. So ano ba yung reason kung bakit siya na-place or bakit siya ina-examine or ina-investigahan yung document na tinutukoy natin na naging question document? It is to determine whether or not it is disputed. So mamaya makikita natin kung ano ba yung difference between question document and disputed document. So now, ang ibig sabihin lang nito, document becomes a question document kapag yung mga bagay na to is na-question mo na. There is a question that is being raised as to its originality, diba? Authenticity, the authorship, its source, and genuineness. And lastly, when it is placed under scrutiny to determine whether or not it is disputed. So, sa susunod natin yan mas mapapalawak. So, ito na siya. Okay. What is a question document? So, ulitin lang natin. A question document is any document about which someone issue hasn't been raised. Yung tinutukoy natin kanina. Kapag merong issue na na-raise with regards to the document or placed under examination, automatic na yan that document now is a question document. Kapag na-place under scrutiny, investigation, or examination. So, it is a document that has been questioned in whole, diba? It's either yung kabuuan ng document itself, yun yung kina-question mo kung how genuine it is, diba? How authentic it is, or either in part. Example, yung portion lang na kung saan may signature ng tao, kina-question mo kung yun ba talaga is totoong firma ng tao o totoong sulat ng tao. Or kahit kaya naman may part ng document na kung saan binura mo and then pinaltan mo. So, ma-discuss ko yun sa mga susunod pang topic. With respect to its authenticity, again, identity or origin, or its relation among its parts, and other things. So, again, that is question document. A question document is also defined as any signature, di ba? Sabi ko, hindi lang siya limited sa handwriting, hindi lang siya limited dun sa mga printed materials na capable na yung tao na mabasa and mahawakan lang. Mahawakan agad-agad. Diba? Yun naman yung karaniwang kasing document na alam natin, yung mga printed pledge form, contracts, wills, and so on. So, siya is a question document. It involves also the handwriting. Kina-question mo if the handwriting itself is, yun ba yung handwriting ng author na tinutukoy mo o yung iba mismo yung nagsulat. The typewriting, yung any document that is a product of the typewriter. So, kasama rin yun sa question document. Kasi na-examine din natin yan, yung mga typeface nila, yung na ginamit na ribbon and so on, or other marks whose source or authenticity is in dispute or doubtful. Once kasi na isang question document is in dispute or doubtful, hindi na siya yung pangkaraniwan lang na question document na dinedefine natin kanina. Once na ang document again or ang question document is in dispute, meaning to say there is there is a disagreement on a point of law or fact, or there is a conflict of legal matters. So, what I'm trying to say that this question document now is merong na-raise or there is an argument or controversy on the question document. Kasi pag sinabi nating argument, hindi lang naman isang tao lang involved dyan na gusto mong i-examine yung document na kung saan magkaka-up ka na question mo lang yung document, di ba? Kaya naman yung document is a question document. So once na ang document is a disputed document, ibig sabihin yung document na yan is na-raise mo and then there is an argument or controversy on that document itself. Di ba? That there is a views or interest between two person na pinagtatalunan yung questioned document. So, yun yung kaibahan ng question document kay disputed document. So, it involves or yung samples niya is letters, checks, driver licenses, contracts, wills, voter registration, passport, and so on. So, kung mapapansin nyo, pangkaraniwan dyan yung mga printed papers, yung mga letters na handwritten, and then so on. So, although marks on doors, di ba sabi nga natin kanina, walls, windows, or boards will also be included by definition kasi ang definition ng document is any material. So, sabi nga natin kanina, any materials na kung saan there is a mark, symbols, or signs na capable na yung tao is makita or at least partially or totally invisible so long that there is a meaning na kino-convey to someone. Again, okay, next, what is a question document examination? So, at least since 1870, question document examination has been a profession and is frequently done in these cases, yung mga nakasulat dyan, the forgery, counterfeiting, mail fraud, kidnapping, gambling, homicide, and so on. Bakit ito yung mga usual na cases or mga crimes na related document examination or yung QD examination? Kasi sa mga crimes na to, involved po yung document. Diba? Sa forgery, ano ba yung pino-forge? Sa counterfeiting, in relation to the monies, diba? Mail fraud, kidnapping, kapag na merong letter, ransom letter na binigay, and other white-collar crime, and then so on. So, again, the question document examination is a profession. So, ito yung reason why kung bakit mo siya possible matawag na profession. Kasi it requires a lot of effort, diba? It requires a lot of knowledge para magawa mo itong bagay na to or yung ma-examine mo ang isang question document. So, the examination of question document falls into two broad classes. The first is the criminalistic examination. Next is the handwriting identification. So, unahin muna natin si criminalistic criminalistic examination. So, it focus mainly for the detection of forgeries, alteration, and obliteration. So, basahin muna natin. Dr. Wilson Harrison noted, the noted British examiner of question documents says that an intelligent police investigator can detect almost 75%, so mataas na din, of all his magnifiers and measuring tools. The examination of document in criminalistic laboratory is a scientific procedure which can be learned in a very short time. So, ang focus natin sa criminalistic, kasi when we say criminalistic, it involves forensic science, diba? It involves the the laboratory works or scientific procedures and method para lang ma-examine mo yung document itself. So, ibig sabihin, sa criminalistic examination, magre-rely ka, for example, sa chemicals, magre-rely ka sa mga tools, diba? Magre-rely ka sa mga machines or other technologies or any scientific method or procedure para lang ma-examine mo yung the document itself or the question document or the document that is being questioned. So, bakit siya usual na related dun sa cases na forgeries, alteration, and obliteration? Kasi kung sa susunod na mga topics natin, yung way natin on how to discover if the document is forged or na-altered or obliterated, gagamit tayo ng mga chemicals na kung saan malalaman natin kung meron bang binago, malalaman natin kung meron bang binura, malalaman ba natin kung merong pinaltan. So, hindi naman tayo pwedeng mag-rely lang sa pagtingin lang kay papel para malaman natin yung mga bagay na yon. So, again, sa criminalistic examination, kailangan tong mag-undergo ng laboratory works and examination using the scientific procedure para lang malaman natin or ma-examine natin yung question document. So, as compared to the handwriting identification, so, ang focus natin is to find out who is the author of the writing as compare again dun sa una. Sa una kasi kailangan nating malaman yung if there is a change. Okay, the last topic is the processes in scientific method of examination. Ano ba yung proseso natin para mag-examine tayo or the scientific method of examining those questioned document? We have the ACE, diba? Analysis, comparison, and evaluation. So, isa-isahin natin. For the analysis, it is the recognition of characteristics. Ito yung sinasabi ko kanina. Kailangan mong i-familiarize, kailangan mong i-recognize ano ba yung characteristic or yung handwriting characteristic ng isang tao. Yung properties or characteristic are being observed, measured, and determined. Inaalam mo again yung handwriting characteristic ng author. So, the first step is to analyze the known writing sample for the distinctive characteristic. For example, handwriting ni ma'am. So, hanap ka ng known writing sample ko. So, meron akong, for example, sample na handwriting sa isang papel. Aralin mo sa pamamagitan nun, yun ay directly sa akin galing. Ako yung author, kaya naman tawag sa kanya is known writing sample. Alam mo kung sino yung gumawa, alam mo kung sino yung source. So, hanapin mo yung kanyang distinctive characteristic. Ano ba yung characteristic ng handwriting ni ma'am? So, the examiner looks for the unique qualities. Kung ano yung unique qualities or characteristic ng handwriting ni ma'am such as letters, the word spacing, the size, yung slant ng pagsulat ko ng letters, the proportionality of letters, and other individual characteristics. So, ito po yung sample niya. For the analysis, sabi ko nga kanina, alamin mo yung unique traits or qualities niya. So, pasok dyan, ilan lang yun sa aaralin natin. Yung pagtingin ng baseline, pagtingin ng slant of letters, the letter size, the word spacing, the letter formation. Again, ilan lang yan sa mga susunod na aaralin natin na characteristic ng handwriting. So, example lang yan. For example, yung sulat ni ma'am, tignan mo yung baseline ni ma'am. Pataas ba? Pababa ba yung sulat niya? Or straight line lang? Or straight lang yung sulat niya? Yung slant of letters ba ni ma'am? Pa-right ba yung baling niya? Or pa-left? Or pa-straight lang yung baling ng letters niya? Yung letter size ba ni ma'am? Large? Medium? Or small? The word spacing, masyado bang dikit-dikit, di ba? Or masyadong wide apart? O malayo yung agwat? Or normal lang? The letter formation, di ba, ang usual naman na formation ng I is with dot. Pero merong mga tao na nagsusulat ng I na walang dot. And then minsan yung I nila meron pang style or minsan bilog na may space sa gitna or pa-heart pa yan minsan. So, ang ibig sabihin lang sa analysis, From the known writing sample ni ma'am, kung ano talaga yung handwriting ni ma'am, aralin mo yung characteristic niya. Aralin mo yung unique qualities niya. So that is for the analysis. Next, for the comparison. Complete comparison of all characteristics. Properties of characteristics of the unknown items determined through analysis are compared with the familiar or recorded properties of known items. So na magkakaroon ngayon ng comparison. Dahil meron ka ng sample ng handwriting ni ma'am, tapos yung unknown items ngayon o yung item na that is being questioned, kunyari yung item na isa sa na papel, inaalam mo kung ito ba yung handwriting din ni ma'am. So yun yung unknown item. Aralin mo din siya. And then ngayon, dahil alam mo na, na-analyze mo na, naaral mo na yung handwriting ni ma'am, i-compare mo na siya doon through the properties, doon sa recorded properties na na-record mo na or naaral mo na handwriting ni ma'am. So for the next step, i-differentiate mo yung elements from the known sample, yung kanina, yung handwriting talaga ni ma'am based dun sa known sample niya, and to those unknown sample. So, para malaman mo din kung ano yung nakita mong unique qualities ko, hanapin mo siya ngayon dun kay unknown sample. Kapag hindi mo nakita, mamaya dun tayo sa evaluation, dun tayo magkakatalog. But, for the second step, para sa next step, ipagkumpara mo lang. Hanapin mo, nakita mo kay ma'am yung letter niya malaki. So, ngayon hanapin mo kay unknown sample, malaki ba yung letter niya? So, nakita mo yung I ni ma'am, pa-heart yung I ni ma'am, pero dun sa known sample, i-compare mo siya kung yung mga I dun sa unknown sample is may heart din. Dun sa known sample ni ma'am, for example, yung L niya, or yung letters niya, or yung words niya, paslant ng right. Hanapin mo ngayon dun sa unknown sample, or dun sa sample that is being questioned, kung pa-right ba yung slant niya. So, that is for the comparison. Ito yung kanyang sample, di ba? Sabi ko kanina, ito yung known sample, for example, ni ma'am. Inaral nyo, ito yung nakita nyo, yung V niya pa ganon, yung E niya ganon yung qualities niya, yung R niya pa ganon, yung Y niya pa ganon. So, ito yung dun sa kabila, sa question, yung unknown sample that siya yung document that is being questioned, hanapin mo ngayon dun kung katulad lang ba dun sa known sample ni ma'am, na qualities ng kanyang handwriting. So, ipagkukumpara mo lang sila. For example, ito yung sulat ni ma'am, ito yung inaral mo. Ngayon, i-compare mo dito sa pirma or dun sa sulat na kina-question mo kung sulat din ba ni ma'am. So, that is for the comparison. Okay, the last step or phase sa scientific procedure of examination of a question document is the evaluation. Now, focus tayo dun sa correct interpretation of the characteristic. Hanapin natin ngayon, dahil napagkumpara na natin ngayon, tingnan mo yung kanilang similarities or dissimilarities. Chinek mo yung V ni ma'am, chinek mo yung V sa kabila na unknown sample. Ngayon, tingnan mo ba kung magkatulad sila or magkaiba. Diba? Magkatulad ba in property or characteristic that may have certain value for identification is determined by their likelihood or occurrence. So, sa evaluation part, dito ka na magkakaroon ng conclusion na kung saan magkatulad ba talaga yung mga characteristic ni known sample and ni unknown sample para mag-lead ka na sila ay mag-match or kaya naman hindi match. Ibig sabihin, hindi si ma'am yung nagsulat ng unknown sample. So, this is the final step wherein in-evaluate nga natin yung similarities and dissimilarities in the known, yung sample talaga ni ma'am, and the unknown sample that is being questioned. While differences are good indication of non-match. Sabi ko nga kanina, kung yung V ni ma'am dun sa known and yung unknown sample is magkaiba, ibig sabihin good indication nyo ng non-match. At ganun din sa ibang characteristic or qualities na nakita nyo na kinumpara nyo dun sa unknown sample. So, no single similar characteristics, no matter how unique, can determine a match. Therefore, all likeness must be considered, of course. Para makita mo or ma-evaluate mo talaga, makita mo kung talaga ba sila is magkatulad na magkatulad, or at least, kung ano yung way of writing ni ma'am, makita dun sa known or unknown sample. So the examiner must make a judgment in each case by evaluating the totality of the document. Yung kabuuan na document at hindi ka pwedeng mag-rely lang. For example, tinignan mo lang lahat yung letter I. Yung letter I, nakuha nung manggagaya nung magsusulat. Pero yung ibang letter, na-neglect niya at hindi niya na-try magaya hanggat makakaya niya ng best niya. So, you must examine the document as a whole or yung the totality of the document. Lahat ng qualities na nakita mo dun sa known writing ni ma'am, as much as possible, lahat yon hanapin mo kayo unknown sample para mag-come up ka kung siya ba ay non-match or magka-match talaga. So, that is for the evaluation. So, ito yung example niya. Assuming that ito yung sulat ni ma'am, hinanap mo yung kanyang individual characteristic. Hinanap mo kung gaano ba kalaki yung slope, yung loop nung J ni ma'am, for example. Tapos, in-examine mo ngayon yung unknown sample na kina-question mo kung sulat din ba ni ma'am. Pinagkumpara mo ngayon as the second step. Yung unang step, in-analyze mo yung sulat ni ma'am. Pangalawa, pinagkumpara mo. Hinanap mo yung unique qualities ni ma'am dun sa question document. And then lastly, in-evaluate mo na. Ito yung evaluation mo. Hinanap mo yung kanyang differences and the similarities. Ang nakita niya dyan, the shape of the upper loop of the capital J. Magkaiba daw yung upper loop ni J dito sa question document. Ito daw yung upper loop ng J ni ma'am. Masyadong malaki and then nag-start siya dito. As compared to the question document, di ba? Ito siya. Dito nag-start sa labas and then medyo pa-curve, may edge yung kanyang dulo ng J. As compare agad kay ma'am, pa-round yung kanyang upper loop at mas malaki. At nag-start dito sa kadikit lang din nung letter. Ito medyo malayo. Next, observation niya ng differences. The shape daw of the lower loop of the capital J. Yung lower loop daw ng capital J, ganun din, malaki siya. Ito naman, yung comparison dito, yung nakita sa comparison, maliit. Tapos, hindi pa niya na-meet itong E. Diba ganon? So, next, diba, yung iba pa, the oval shape of the A. Nasaan ba si A? Ito. Si A. Medyo makipot yung kay ma'am. And then, hinanap mo siya dun kay unknown sample for the comparison. Nakita mo, medyo malaki. Kaya naman dito, as a whole, ang kanyang conclusion or yung based sa kanyang evaluation, not genuine. Kasi lahat ng characteristic na meron si ma'am, for example lang, hindi niya nakita dito. Masyadong malayo. So, yun po yung tatlong processes in scientific method of examination. Analysis, the comparison, and the evaluation. So, yun po yung ating first lesson.